Duluth. The rest of you. I am so just tickled. I'm just tickled to be here. It's just adorable. It's wonderful to be. You guys, I'm so glad that I'm here. I'm so glad that you're here. But here's one thing that just came to me this afternoon. I know there are people here who are not glad that they're here. Like genuinely, I know that there are people here who maybe this has been a refrain in your brain all day. I don't want to be here. I don't belong. I totally get it. But you are exactly where you need to be. Especially if you're someone who's saying, I just don't want to be here. I just don't belong. I just want to go home. The truth is, you're here for one reason. And that one reason is because God wants you to be here. We'll talk about this later. He doesn't want y'all to be here. He wants you to be here. Amen? Amen. So suck it up and let's go. So, no, truly. Last night, you guys, there's two people I could listen to at any time, are Arthur Brooks and Sister Mary Grace. And I'm so grateful for their message last night. This message of like such goodness, right? Like, there's a God and he's good. There's a God who's made you on purpose. There is a God and he's created this world and he's created it good. There's meaning in life. And I love this because, so I wanted to go back and say, like, this is so good. Because especially if you're like, I just want to go home. I don't want to be here. I want to leave. Sometimes that's what we have. I want to leave. I want to be alone. And if I go back to Genesis chapter 2. And in Genesis chapter 2, we have this incredible story of a good God who makes this good world and he makes people good. And then he says what? He says, he looks at the man, he says, it's not good for the man to be alone. You're good. It's not good for you to be alone. I'll make a suitable partner for him. And so we know the story, right? We know the story. We've read, you guys have been to Bible studies. So he makes the story is that God brings all the animals before the man. And I love it because it's like, I'll make a suitable partner for the man. There's an aardvark. And the man's like, aardvark. Because it says, to see what he'll call them. Okay, aardvark, anteater. Okay, I mean, cat. Like, was that for anteater or for cat? Because the cat's like the devil. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, here's a dog. It's like, oh, my best friend, dog, you know. But of course, the story is that it wasn't until God put the man into deep sleep and opened up his side and took out this woman that he breaks into the first love song ever recorded, where the man wakes up and sees the woman and he's like, at last, my love is flesh of my bones and what, you know. And it's good. It is so good. In fact, the end of Genesis chapter 2 is, here's the man, here's the woman. He's not alone. She's not alone. The man and woman are standing there naked, but they feel no shame. And you guys, it is such a picture of how good God is and how good the world is and how good people are. And I'll tell you this. If that was the end of the Bible, if Genesis chapter 2 is the end of the Bible, well, the Bible in Your podcast would be a lot shorter. And this world would be a lot different. But we know this. We know, right, that Genesis chapter 2 is not the end of the story. Genesis chapter 3 happens after chapter 2. I'm not an expert, but I think that's how it usually goes. What happens in Genesis chapter 3 is the serpent comes into the garden, right? And the serpent asks the woman these questions. Did God really say you can't eat of any of the trees in the garden? And the woman's been doing her homework, like, no. We can eat of any of the fruit of the trees in the garden, except for that tree in the middle of the garden. If we eat it or touch it, we'll die. And the serpent says, no, you won't die. God knows full well that if you eat of this tree, you'll be like him. And he doesn't want you to be like him. Because you can't trust him. And I love the next thing that happens in the Bible. The very description is this, that the woman, it says that she looked at the fruit. And she saw that the tree was good for food, pleasing to the eyes, and desirable for gaining wisdom. This might be something that you and I pass over all the time. When we read this story, you have to know this. It's good for food, pleasing to the eyes, desirable for gaining wisdom. Question, pop quiz campers. Is the fruit of the tree bad or good? Okay, sorry, I did that wrong. How many of you, on the count of 3, is it bad or good? 1, 2, 3. It's good. They're like, a bet? I don't know. Trick question. Semester ended 2 weeks ago, Father. The fruit of the tree is good. Why? Because God made it. Everything at this point, everything is good. So why can't we eat of the fruit that's good? Because this is the root of the first sin. And it's the reality of every sin that comes after this. Because this is the reality. Every sin is an attempt to be happy apart from God. That's what every sin looks like. It's an attempt to be happy just wins. Reaches out, and here's the crazy thing. She reaches out because she wants to be happy apart from God, and here's what she gets. She gets exactly what she chose. Here's the reality when it comes to sin, you guys. One of the reasons why sin is so attractive is because you get what you chose. Every single sin, we get what we chose. And this is the reality, of course, it's the truth for every single one of our lives. You and I are free to make whatever choice we want. We're just not free to choose the consequences of those choices. And what is the consequence of this first sin? I don't know if you know this, but the English word sin comes from the German word Sünde. The German word Sünde is where we get the word sin. And the German word Sünde is where we get the English word sunder, right? So what happens is, she reaches out. It's a good thing. It's fine. I just want happiness, but apart from God. And what happens, she reaches out, and what happens for all humanity is we experience this Sünde. We're splintered. Every single one of us, from this moment on, we experience life where we're asunder, we're splintered, we're divided, we're drifting. In fact, here's a little theology lesson for today, as if you haven't had enough theology yet today. But here's the man and woman who are good, and from now on, they're still good, but they're broken. Here's the world. God made it. It's still good, but here's the world. It's good, but it's broken now. And we experience this every day. Because this is us, this is you and me. Ever since this moment, human beings made in God's image are good, but we're broken. And you know, the church actually describes there are 4 ways that we experience this Sünde. There's 4 ways we experience this splintering. The first way is we have a darkening of the intellect. Right? So we can still think, but you're stupid. Some are like, seriously? Yes, seriously. We can still use our brain. Your brain is good. It's just weak, darkened. Second is a weakening of the will. That you can still choose, you can still do things, but it's like, fact is, how many of you last night said, hey, my hotel has a gym. I'm setting the alarm for 5 a.m. so I can work out before the 3-hour mass. And then what happens is the alarm goes off and the snooze button is your best friend. That's a result of sin. Original sin. It's because why? Because we have darkening of the intellect. We have a weakening of the will. We can still choose, but we choose weakly. Darkening of the intellect, weakening of the will. And the third consequence is we have this thing called concupiscence. Class, or after me. Concupiscence. Exactly. What's concupiscence? Well, it's that little cornucopia thing. Concupiscence is the fact that we're attracted to sin. That you and I look around this world and we know things are bad for us and we still choose them. I don't know if you know this, but how many of us, give a shout out for McDonald's French fries. Man, McDonald's French fries are so tasty as long as they're warm. And one of the reasons is because, back in the day, McDonald's French fries had 3 ingredients: potatoes, salt, and lard. That was it. Currently, McDonald's French fries have 19 ingredients. And you can know that, you guys, I learned that 2 years ago. And I wish I could say I've never been back to McDonald's since. And I can honestly say, I have not been to McDonald's since Monday. But I got to the end of my French fries and I didn't eat the last 5. So it's kind of like, why? Because we have darkening of the intellect, weakening of the will, and we have this concupiscence. We're attracted to sin, which is just remarkable. And here's the thing is, we all have this. This is what's called original sin. In fact, I remember there's a priest back in the day, and he said he didn't like that term original sin because he's like, how's a child born with original sin? And he used this term instead. He called it the original wound. And this original wound is the wound we've all inherited. This darkening of the intellect, the weakening of the will, the attraction to sin. And I know that we can hear that and say, that's stupid. It's not fair. And you're right. We inherit a bunch of things that aren't fair. You might have to wear glasses because your parents had to wear glasses. You inherited that. It's not fair. You might have inherited an inclination to alcoholism. It's not fair. You might have inherited asthma. It's not fair. You guys, I will never be taller than 5'10". It is not fair. But it's what I've inherited, and I deal my best with it. We've all inherited this reality that you are good, but you're broken. It's one of the reasons why St. Paul, he said, there is no temptation that's come against you that is not common to all humanity. We all experience this, as Troy Bolton stated. We are all in this together. Yes, we are. You guys, come on, get in the game. Let's go. Because why? Because we're all splintered, right? We're all sundered. We're all drifting. And sometimes, one of the problems is we all think that we're drifting to heaven. And we look around the world, our culture, everyone thinks, well, no, good people go to heaven, and we're all good except for like Hitler. So we're all like, this is kind of the reality in the culture we live in. We think that, yeah, we're drifting, but we're all drifting to heaven. You know, this last summer we had the Olympics. And funny thing, I love the Olympics. And I watched so many interviews of people who are on the podium, like they just won the Olympics. I've never seen an interview after the Olympics when someone just won and they come off the podium, here's the interview, and they say, so how did you get to the Olympics? And they're like, I don't know. I just run 3 times a week and try to eat right, and here I am. Like, that never happens. If you're gonna get to the Olympics, it's because you made a bunch of sacrifices, because you shaped your life around this goal. If I want to get to the Olympics, no one drifts to the Olympics. That's the question. It's one of those things of why do I think that I could possibly drift to heaven? You guys, we know this, right? Everyone's second favorite Olympics, the Winter Olympics. There are a lot of interesting sports in the Olympics. I'm not gonna mention ray gun right now. But in the Winter Olympics, there's at least 2 events that I think are so fascinating. The luge. Yes, here's the luge. Sit down, go like this, and then lie down. That's it. That's the luge. And I think that's ridiculous. But then I pause for a second and realize something about myself. You guys, here's an honest moment. I do not have the ability to lie down at the Olympic level. All the luge, 1, 2, and then lie down. I can't do that. I'm not well enough trained. The other interesting sport in the Olympics, curling. Okay, you guys, we know that Team USA comes from Duluth, Minnesota, so go USA. And we think that's all it is, just this. You guys, confession, I do not have the ability to sweep at the Olympic level either. So why do I think that I could just drift to heaven? I wouldn't think I could go to the Olympics. Why? I run 3 times a week. I go to heaven. Why? Go to Mass on Sundays, pray the rosary occasionally. I am not good enough to go to heaven. I have been sundered. My heart has been split. So here's one of the problems is, then we hear that and we're like, okay, well, you gotta work. You only get to the Olympics by working. We're gonna get to heaven, let's work at it. Let's really try really hard. Because those 3 consequences of original sin, darkened intellect, weakened will, attracted to sin, I'm gonna fight against that with everything I've got. Do you know there's a 4th consequence of sin, of being sundered? And the 4th consequence is called death. I think about this image of that. What it's like to experience it. So my best friend in the world, his name is Nick. And Nick once gave me this image of what it's like to be sundered from God in a way that we experience death. And Nick said ever since he was a kid, he wanted to be an astronaut. So he surrounded his bedroom as a kid with all these images of space and astronauts being on spacewalks, right, being outside the space capsule. And he said that's what convinced him not to be an astronaut. Because he just had nightmares at times of what if I was doing a spacewalk right outside the shuttle? And what if I just let go? And I wasn't tethered. Now imagine this. Here you are hanging on to, you imagine the death grip you'd have on the outside of the space shuttle in space. And imagine just what it would be like to hold on and all of a sudden just let go. And you do this this thing where there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. If you start drifting this way, there's nothing you could do. No matter how hard you swim against, there's no gravity. There's nothing you can do. You can just reach and wish and hope and die. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you were like, I don't care. I don't want this. I want to be left alone. Or if you just simply let go. Same thing's going to happen. I'm going to keep drifting. Because I just said, leave me alone. If there's anything that's the heart of sin, it's that, right? Every sin is an attempt to be happy apart from God. Every sin is this thing of like, just leave me alone. And we just drift. And here's the crazy thing. We can drift and we can still do stuff, right? We can drift. We have an intellect. We can still think. We can still have a will. We can still choose. We can still love. All the good things that we can do as human beings. The one thing we can't do is change our direction. I'm just going to keep drifting. No matter how hard I work, no matter how much I do, I'm just going to keep drifting. It's one of the reasons why, there's another definition of sin.